Hey guys, DPG here with yet another fantastic review of The Boys, which is available on Amazon Prime. I'm not sure if it's available on any other platforms, but I gotta tell you, I was a little surprised. The Boys, which is about a bunch of superheroes who have reached this sort of elevated status, kind of like a Justice League, Avengers type of thing, but they are run by a corporation. And of course, the corporation is kind of evil, which really kind of corporations are kind of evil, and they need to change. They need to start taking into account more stakeholders. But this is really about sort of the evil corporation that has these 7 superheroes, and they're known as the 7. And they go around, stopping crime and all that good stuff, typical superhero stuff. But there is some dissension among the ranks, right? Like the top guy, who's known as Homelander, who's kind of like your Captain America, Superman kind of a guy. He is definitely he's lost his way a little bit morally, and he's kind of becoming power hungry. And then the corporation, of course, has their own agenda, and they're all sort of fighting among each other. And then there's this sort of ragtag group of guys who are trying to bring down the Supes, which is what they're known as. And I got to tell you, everybody in this is a really well fleshed out character. And I'm not going to get into the names because I don't have that information handy, but Elizabeth Shue, who we haven't seen in a long time, since leaving Las Vegas, I believe, was the project she kind of got onto the map for a long time ago with Nicolas Cage. And so this project is it's quite interesting. So you have this ragtag group of people going after these superheroes. And they, of course, are normal, mere mortals. So they have to figure out what are the weaknesses of the superheroes and how can they sort of get under their skin. And there's a lot of plots. It involves, there are some performance enhancing, substances involved. So it covers a lot of ground, and it does it very well. I can't believe I'm saying this because I'm usually so over all this superhero stuff. And so why I would recommend this is because it's a different take on superheroes. It's not just they're a bunch of heroes. These guys are struggling. They're struggling with their powers. They're struggling with their power. They're struggling with whether they should take performance enhancing drugs and substances. There's politics. There's corporate greed. There's the little guy, and how are the general public affected by all this? So there's so many different layers to this that really kind of gets into a lot of the same issues that we contend with today. So I think they did a brilliant job bringing in a lot of current political messages and the struggle that we all kind of deal with, whether we are someone with power or someone who perceives we don't have power, and then what we should do when we don't think we have power. And honestly, from an actor perspective, I thought the acting was excellent. I think that the characters, there's some really good stuff going on. The one person whose name I recall is Dennis Quaid's son, who I believe his name is Jack Quaid, and he is Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan's son. And it's funny because he looks exactly like both of them combined, like exactly. And he's got a really interesting character because he's kind of a nerd, but he's also going through some moments where he gets some power and he exerts it, and then that power comes back to haunt him, and then he's actually hooks up with one of the superheroes. And yet the reason he got involved in this in the first place is because his girlfriend was killed by one of the superheroes, and he keeps feeling guilty about her honoring her and the relationship that never really fulfilled itself. It was just getting off the ground. So there's a lot of inner turmoil and torment. And this is really good stuff. I mean, it's really good stuff for actors to watch because you can see each person's perspective is very clear, even though it's constantly changing. You know, you got the young girl who plays Starlight, and she's torn between the fame. It's like an actor auditioning. She's auditioning to become a superhero. She has the powers, but does she have the personality, the pizzazz, the uniform? And so she has to audition, and then you see her going from thrilled she got the part to almost like when an actress gets a part and then they're asked to do nudity, but there was no mention of nudity before, and suddenly she's like, they want her to wear a sexy uniform, and she's like, I don't want to wear that. That's not me. But then they're like, well, you can stay in the group and wear this, or you can just leave and we'll replace you with somebody else. And so there's all this moral ambiguity and what's right for me and what's right for everybody. What about the other girls who are going to be modeling themselves after me? But, and then if you think about that, where does that leave people like Nicki Minaj, who play up their sexuality and take advantage of it? They don't give it away, but they play it up, and it gives them power, and then they can deliver their message. So, there's the whole don't use me as a sexual object versus I am a sexual object, and I'm going to use that for my own express purposes and, to benefit, my people, benefit the people that want to know what they can do with what they've got. So there's so many layers. It's really interesting and really well written. Makes me definitely want to reach out to the writers and producers and see if I can get myself a role on this sucker. But I would say overall, yeah, I'm giving it 2 thumbs up. Even I have 2 thumbs, so I'm giving them a 2 thumbs up. And I'd give it a rating. Like, there's really nothing about it that's not compelling. There's kind of some, parts that are a little overblown. I'd say some of the violence and the gore can be excessive. I think audiences are very desensitized to that, and they want more and more of it, I guess, or at least that's what the producers think. So there's a little bit of that, but otherwise, yeah, really, really well done, and I highly would recommend it. So far, I've seen like 4.5 episodes of the first season, and I'm loving every minute of it. So there you go, guys. That's my review of The Boys and what it could do to help out an actor. So let me know what you think, and check out hackhollywood.com or teespring.com/hackhollywood. Get some merch. Talk to you soon.